Hey guys, it's Rush. Hope we're doing well. Welcome back to the channel. There's an old saying, and the saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, my Victrix controller, perfectly fine. And I decided to upgrade my controller using a PCB to use in my D-pad module to give it switches. Now, I know from experience, with switches, you get a much faster response, but it can be a bit more inaccurate. So I've mentioned this many times on the channel before. I do not use the tip of my thumb for my inputs when playing on fighting games. I use the joint of my thumb. So that in itself, it sounds pretty crazy. Some people do play like this, but it tends to lead to very fast inputs in terms of how you're using the D-pad, but it can be inaccurate. So using the ball, the joints there with your thumb, and using switches, a D-pad that uses switches, can lead to more misinputs. So I'm aware of that already, and that's why I prefer membrane style D-pads. But I wanted to change it on the Victrix to see the impact it would have. So we're going to talk about the different modules, the different PCBs that I have for the Victrix at the moment, and I'll guide you through good PCBs with switches and the bad PCBs with switches. Okay, dogs. So let's remove the module from the controller. Trying to remember which one's which now. So this one, this PCB, switches. I know that uses switches because it's orange. Yep, switches. This one should be membrane. Yep, that is a lot stiffer. So the first one we're going to look at is this one here with the orange. Now, this one is from a company called Epindon. This is the first one that I bought. So it was around £40 from Amazon. It had to be shipped to me internationally to get to the UK. So let me just quickly unscrew this now. Okay, so let's open this up. You'll see the innards, and on the right-hand side, we'll switch it the same way as the actual Victrix. So it would be like that. Take that off, and there you can see there's switches. Now, this Epindon module, it's a great fit. It's really nice. You can see the two screws that hold it in place. There is a problem. If I tilt it to its side, these switches are really tall, very, very tall, and they cause a problem. So what happens is when you have it all connected, put it back like that. And when you're pressing down, so this actual, so I've just jumped the gun a little bit there. So this backing plate that connects to the D-pad comes with the Epindon. So you get all of the modules with the Epindon package, which is really good. So you get the D-pad one, the analog stick, and you get the other analog stick and the buttons. But this also comes with the Epindon, and you also get a spring as well that slots in there, and that sits on top of the switches, on top of the PCB. So let's go back to what I was saying. So when you have it all connected and you're pressing down on the D-pad or left or right, what happens with this module is when you use not an excessive amount of force, but if you are using it properly, the D-pad, you're pressing it down, you're doing very fast inputs, what happens is that it will actually press multiple buttons at the same time. So if I reconnect it, there you go. Press down, it clicks once. If I press down again, it's pressing twice. There's one. Press down harder, it presses two. So that's the issue, the first issue that I saw with this pad. Now, what I did to work around that was, I'll put this back together. There is a sort of, it's a bit of a hack, but it did work. So what I did is I put some gaffer tape in each of these corners. And what that did was with a particular D-pad, this D-pad here, so it's cross, but it is a circle shape, and the connections from like each directional input, they sort of lean downwards. If you look, it's got like a bit of a profile, like a bit of a lip to it. That will sit over the corners. Because I raised the corners with the tape, it stopped you pressing down hard enough to get the double press. That actually did work, but not a great workaround to have to like add tape to the corners, because over time the tape could wear away. So I managed to get it to work, but I wasn't happy with the solution. So that was one thing with this. But with the Epindon, what I will say is really good. For the £40, you get all 4 modules, which is really good. And I also think the spring is super important. Now, you may notice the spring isn't here. I'll go on to the next module, the next PCB, to explain where the spring is and show you what that PCB looks like. So this module has switches in as well. This PCB that I bought, so it doesn't have a actual name or manufacturer. It's a company on AliExpress that sell them. Doesn't really have a name. The module itself is a bit more expensive. You're paying £20 for, actually no, it's about the same price. It's £20 for the whole module. That's the D-pad module and the analog stick. So if you're buying both, it would actually be about £40. Again, international shipping. Took a few days, about over a week for it to arrive. And shout outs to Stripes as well. Stripes has helped me a lot with these controller mods and things we've been doing together. And he mentioned about this particular PCB, the switches. He actually had that for his Victrix. And he was saying how his switches do not sound or behave like the one that I had, the Epindon. So he put me on the link, this one. So shout out to Stripes. Check him out on YouTube. Let me unscrew that now. Can't do a fast forward on that because I've been talking. Apologies. There you go. Move that to one side. I'll mix them up. So this one, take it off. You'll notice this is the Victrix backing plate. So you don't get a backing plate with this. That is the Victrix one. Take it off. And there is your spring. So this is actually from the Epindon kit, the spring. And that what that does is it ensures that the backing plate is kind of pushed upwards against the controller. So it gives it a bit more of a secure feeling. This one is a bit wobbly, I find. More wobbly than the Epindon. Maybe it's because the Epindon has its own backing plate. But using the Victrix backing plate with this PCB, bit of a wobble, not too bad. But yeah, I'm using the Epindon spring in this other PCB setup. If I tilt that to the side, you can see nowhere near as tall as the Epindon. That very low profile. Whereas if I put the Epindon next to it, how tall they are, really tall. They're quite narrow as well compared to this one. So yeah, definite difference in the design. But with this, so you already see there's one screw in. I haven't got a second screw in. The reason for that is because the second screw wouldn't fit. I was trying to screw that second screw in, and it was going in at an angle, and I didn't want to damage my, my module, this PCB. So I didn't put it in. It is secure, but I'd like to have two screws in. So the quality is a bit lacking in comparison to the Epindon, but I don't get the double clicking. It doesn't do it at all. I've not had one instance where I've got a double click, which is really nice. Yeah, you press it down. It's got quite a short shift. And that's it. There's not much play in terms of the vertical travel. That's very, very nice. This is the better one out of the two, 100%. Put that back together with the spring. Flip it upside down. Spring in. Then best to put it in like this. Like that. Then put it on upside down. And that's it. Got to screw back in place. But that is the better one, 100% better. I'll put a link in the video description to this one. I'll put a link to the Epindon as well, but I'll put like a big warning, do not order this one. I would like to get in touch with Epindon to find out, like there must be something I'm doing wrong, or there must be some knowledge of that problem. Maybe I've got a faulty PCB, who knows? But yeah, it's quite a severe issue, that one. So that's that one. What we'll do is we'll just have a quick look at the stock Victrix module, the PCB, the one with the membrane. I don't think I've actually opened this module up. So look quickly. If I open that up now, after the fast forwarding, very stiff. Go. So yeah, obviously the stock Victrix backing plate, and that's what the membrane looks like. I don't know if you can lift that up. I don't want to. I feel like it's, yeah, it is glued in place. Yeah, it definitely feels like it's a little stuck, so I won't mess with the actual rubber. But yeah, membrane, you know what to expect with that. That's the stock Victrix D-pad configuration. So that's the three modules put back together again. What I'm going to do is I'll do a sound test of the actual switches. So I'll do a test for the Epindon, and then I'll do a test for the AliExpress no-name switches. So let me turn the mic filters off now. Have a listen. So going back to what I said at the beginning of the video, I do prefer membrane, but I'm trying to get used to the switches. I do like the faster execution, and I do like the feedback you get with the switches. So I am trying to convert to that using this, the no-name switch PCB. My D-pad is modified as well. You may know this already if you're on the channel, been watching for some time, but I use a modified Saturn D-pad. So Saturn D-pad has a bigger surface area. You can see I've actually texturized the top at the moment because it got a bit smooth, it got a bit shiny on the top, so I've texturized it again. The thing I like about this is that you can really feel where your thumb is, like the up, down, left, right. It's very quick, and the surface area really allows for those really big like chugs and turns for quarter circle inputs and DP inputs. So that's my preference. It does protrude quite a bit because this Saturn D-pad is actually glued on top of the Victrix D-pad. If I pop it off, you may be able to see. Yeah, so there you go. It's actually glued on top. I've got two now. The one on the left is quite tall. I didn't sand the Saturn D-pad down as much as I did for that one, so that's got a much nicer, tighter, closer fit. Doesn't sit as tall. That one hasn't been sanded. It's got the sort of like edging, the curvature on the edges, whereas this one is a lot more flat. So I am using different D-pads. I am using the switch PCB. So I'm just trying to get used to it, trying to find what is my preference. And then from there onwards, I can sort of carry on committing to the game of choice with that controller setup. We are still grinding the 6-button 5-pad journey. It's really, really tough. The thing with pads is, and what I've realized with all the time and the videos I've done making these modifications to controllers and testing these different things out, is with pads, once you get them how you want them, unfortunately, there is a maintenance sort of thing you have to do. You have to service the controllers. Sometimes the parts just wear away, so you have to buy new parts. The good thing about the Victrix is you can just buy the module. You don't have to change the whole pad. Buy the module, maybe buy a part for the actual module. You can even just buy the PCB, for example. If the PCB is broken, place the PCB and crack on. So it's quite a low maintenance thing to do. The cost is low for Victrix, if you know what I mean. Obviously, if the rest of the pad goes wrong, that's a bigger problem. But I'm trying my best. This is still my go-to pad. This is what I'm using. But yeah, some information in regards to the switches. Hope that helps, guys. Any questions or any queries, as always, give me a shout. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.